This is it. The final day of October and the final day of my 5th year anniversary of Jack-O-Ween. And with it, I've decided to combine two of my favorite things. The first being, of course, my Hyperthetical series. But the second is my all-time favorite horror film. A film that originally traumatized me and over the years has become, honestly, a foundational part of who I am. That film being Halloween. So in this special Halloween edition of Hyperthetical, I present the question: why is Halloween the perfect horror film? In 1963, a seemingly innocent child named Michael Myers kills his sister. 15 years later, he escapes the mental institution that he was placed in. While his doctor, Dr. Loomis, is hunting him down, Michael is making his presence known throughout the town, stalking prey and stalking young women, specifically one named Laurie Strode, all taking place on Halloween night. This basic premise is what sets the foundation of the story. It sets the principal characters and it sets the ideology of what Michael Myers would become. But he is no longer Michael Myers. The moment he put on the mask in the beginning of the movie, he was no longer Michael Myers. He was the shape. And just as important as the shape is to set the foundation of everyone. The main protagonist of the story, Laurie Strode, seems fairly generic on the surface. A young babysitter who merely just goes about her life, exchanging conversations with her friends who are a little more promiscuous than her, as well as just wanting to enjoy the night of Halloween. Forced to babysit, but all the same just enjoying life as it was. All that will change by the end of this night. Along with her is also Dr. Loomis, Michael Myers' psychologist. He knows Michael. He's studied Michael, he's talked to Michael, and he's known him since he was a child. He's known Michael more than anyone, and knows that Michael isn't a person anymore. He is a thing, a presence, a being, incapable of reason or mercy. That feeling, that vibe that Dr. Loomis presents with us is the only aspect of getting within the mind of Michael, as Michael himself is silent. With the exception of occasional breathing, we wouldn't know that he's actually a person. In the original script of the movie, he's not referred to as the killer either. He is simply referred to as the Shape. And that is the perfect title for this character, because much like a shape, he's interchangeable. He can be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But not through witchcraft or trickery or powers or anything. No, that is what makes it so terrifying, is the way Michael is as the Shape. Allows him to just be real. The feeling that each of us have when we're walking alone and we get that tingling sensation on the back of our neck as if we are being watched. That constant, unnerving presence around us. The unease we feel meeting a stranger. Michael thrives on that. Michael is that feeling. Throughout the movie, there are moments that very much parallel things that could happen in our real world. A person going on a killing spree without any remorse. A person being cold and calculating. A person just no longer seeming human. Going after innocence for the sake of innocence. These were things that when the movie originally came out seemed like an incomprehensible concept. But now, in modern times, it's not just fantasy, it's practicality. The feeling of unease, the feeling of not being sure who you can trust. That presence that overwhelms us. What if you can't stop the monster? What if you can't beat it? What if it can be there for as long as you're alive? Even the way the movie ends, it ends in a way that you see Michael shot point blank multiple times, falling off of a balcony, which should kill any person. And looking down, you would assume, yes, he's dead. But on second glance, he's gone. With the movie ending, Laurie breaking down, her reality shaken. Everything she was is no longer what she is now. She's now the living embodiment of trauma, and the subsequent sequels that follow her story in the modern context prove that statement more and more true. The original movie ends with overshadowing landscapes of different locations with nothing more than a deep, breathing Michael, knowing that he could be anywhere, silently watching in the background, and that unnerving feeling that we felt from the beginning is real, because the scariest thing of all is that you can't trust anyone. The legacy that the Halloween franchise has placed is astronomical. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill knew that what they were creating wasn't just something simple as a masked killer that had been done before. What they created was an atmosphere. They created a presence. They created a reality-bending character that would shape not just horror, but film. At one point, it would be the highest-grossing independent film, spawning sequels, spin-offs, copies, and knockoffs. None of them have been able to capture the original presence of the movie, except for the new trilogy, having come as close as they possibly could. Little inconsequential things when the original film was being made that, at the time, may have seemed insignificant, but looking back, maybe it was serendipity. Things like having not just the actors playing Michael under the mask, but film crew, the director himself, production assistants, dog trainers, multiple people. There's an estimated at least 20-something people that wore Michael Myers' mask during filming, but the fact that they all seem the same, it's all the same character, without any transitional shaping, speaks volumes to the level that the shape could be. He could be anyone. He could be anywhere. He doesn't need to be a wisecracking, warping reality character like Freddy Krueger. He doesn't need to be an unstoppable, unkillable monster like Jason Voorhees. He doesn't need to be anything more than what he is. An inhuman human. So, why is Halloween the perfect horror film? I think taking everything into consideration, what makes Halloween stand above every other horror film, despite its flaws, it is considered one of the greatest horror films of all time. The lasting legacy, the setting, characters, the production, and everything all rolled up together. At its core, it feels as though this could be real. Many horror films play off the effect of this is real. This is an actual thing that could happen. But not the murders. No. Not the concept of masked killer. Not the characters hunting down a masked killer like he's some sort of monster. No, the part that makes it so scary is Michael. A person that in every core of its foundation is a psychopath. Unemotional, unreasonable, unstoppable. Having the ability to just be anywhere. Playing off of that fear that we get, that sensation of fear, the goosebumps, the standing on edge, that feeling that we always feel when we're afraid. That is Michael's domain. That is where he plays best. He doesn't have to intimidate. He doesn't have to play off of your fears. Your fears are already there. And this film encapsulates that so well. From the beginning of seeing a small child through the eyes of a killer, all the way to the end, with his deep, breathing presence. But in the end, these aren't answers. They're hypotheticals. Hope you all enjoyed this year's Jack-O-Ween. It was a lot of work, but it was also a lot of love that I brought out. Getting to display some of my favorite horror films, getting to talk about horror has always been something that I've held close to my chest. And especially my Jack-O-Ween episodes, I always have a great time making. I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank you all for enjoying this year's Jack-O-Ween. I can't promise I will do anything this extravagant next year, but as long as you all have fun, it'll be all worth it. I hope to see you guys soon. Till then, I'll catch you next time.